need a comment card, please raise your hand. While we're waiting to get the cards back, I'd just like to take a second to follow up on Commissioner Edwards. And I'm the new kid on the block. I've been here 6 months, and I can't say enough about the management team, the directors, the job that they do, the job that they've done to help the commissioners manage the budget. Scott and Alex had an opportunity to present it today, but these folks here are the ones that make a lot of things happen. So I really appreciate everybody's effort. Thank you. Okay, let me go ahead and get started. It looks like I have 5 or 6 of them on the same topic and a couple separate ones, so I'm going to try to merge all of these. The first one, with the increased interest and concerns for sustainable approaches to energy and agriculture, what, if any, efforts the county is taking to promote the county in these areas and or support these activities, particularly from an economic development perspective?
Everybody hear me? Can you hear me now? My school teacher voice. That's a great question. I appreciate it. And I'll let Alex weigh in here in a minute because he'll probably have some more. But I think, you know, when you look at agriculture, and part of that's going to be cheese, we've been very active with High Country Creamery, and High Country Creamery has been very active with Firefly Farms. Firefly, as most of you know, is really regionally known, and they need space to grow. High Country Creamery is going to provide some space for Firefly to grow, so it's benefiting more than just the group that's involved with High Country Creamery. But that's one way. We can certainly continue to push for those types of activities, whether it be dairy or whatever the case may be. I know Cheryl DeBerry works a lot with the agricultural piece. And Alex, do you have anything to weigh in on that?
Commissioner, I would only add that Maryland is one of the PACE states. PACE, I had looked it up here a moment ago. Property Assessed Clean Energy is what PACE stands for. The website for people to get more information is MD for Maryland -PACE.com. There's been about 3 counties. The state has enabled some legislation that will allow for for-profit businesses to essentially have a tax lien placed against their property for a bank to offer them a low-interest loan that can be long-term because it's based on the real property and not the value of the equipment. To have, like Firefly Farms did, solar panels or other energy conservation equipment installed on their premises. And the way the loan is supposed to be structured for repayment is through efficiencies and cost savings to the company for that equipment. Now, where we are with it right now, the county itself has not been presented by the department this program for review. My department has had conversations with the official PACE agency for the state of Maryland. We've requested some documents from them in order to get to Mike Getty for legal review and analysis before taking it to you guys. I don't have a definite timetable, but it is something that the department is interested in, providing this tool which would be essentially, again, loans to the private businesses paid back through the cost savings, and they're secured by a tax lien against the parcel. Thank you, sir.
I think it's important to point out that Cheryl DeBerry, who works in the Economic Development Office, works very closely with the University of Maryland Extension. Wilden's here, so Wilden's still here. She works with them very closely to make sure that people are aware of best practices. They provide a lot of assistance in terms of helping people adopt best practices to apply technology. That relationship and that relationship they have with people in the ag community is very important. Cheryl also serves as the economic development point person for natural resource-based businesses, which goes beyond agriculture. Okay.
Okay, this is a kind of a two-part question. They're both the same type of question. What is the best way to get appointed to county government committees? And a question also about listing the committees, or how do you get information on the committees?
That's a good question, and it's come up at a couple of our meetings. We now list the vacancies on our website. If you're interested in participating, you can fill out an application. There's certain ways to get on different boards, but the best thing to do is if you see a vacancy on a board that is, and there's some confusion, I think, about what the county appoints and what they don't. You know, for example, Chamber of Commerce. The county doesn't appoint people to the Chamber of Commerce. The Chamber of Commerce does that, or different enterprises like that. But you know, we have different boards that we have. Commission on Women would be one. Some other things. If you see a vacancy or you know of a vacancy, the best thing to do is probably call in and talk to Kevin to make sure that you have the right information for the right board. And make sure there's the qualifications that you would meet them and all of that stuff. But now we do have them listed. When a vacancy comes up, we'll be listed on the website.
There's a question concerning the Northern Garrett EMS and some of the problems they've been experiencing responding to emergency service calls.
Many people probably don't know, the Northern Garrett Rescue has had some issues being able to meet their calls. Basically what we've done is we met with the Emergency Services Board. We actually met with Northern Rescue. They've come up with a plan, they being Northern Rescue, that they think is going to solve the problem. They presented it to us and Emergency Services Board. We're giving them some time to implement that plan to see if it shows progress. We think and hope that it will, and you know, if it doesn't, then we'll go from there. But they have submitted a plan, they're aware of the issue, and they're doing their best to mitigate the problem.
Okay. Is there a marketing plan for ASCII?
I'm not sure what is meant by a marketing plan. We have been in negotiations with some private sector people that have expressed an interest in taking over ASCII. Most people don't realize that ASCII itself, and Scott can verify this, but it's the last 3 years. The last 3 years, ASCII has paid all its expenses and had a surplus, has made money the last 3 years. A lot of people confuse 2014 with ASCII. 2014, the event, versus ASCII, the nonprofit. So I don't know in terms of marketing. There's a very limited staff there. There's one person that runs it, works 9 months out of the year, I think. we don't have a lot of resources dedicated to it, but, that's a good point, and maybe we ought to look into getting some outside help to develop a marketing plan for it.
Okay. This one I'm going to give you, it's more for information. Does Garrett County have training and planning for an active shooter situation?
That's actually a question for Sheriff Corley.
The health department just had one last week.
Yeah,
On
and
Friday.
the SROs in the schools have a plan and a training in place that they've been working on. So I think it multi-layers of the community of Garrett County, there are contingency plans in place for that, and that hopefully never happens.
I have nine questions related to fracking. So I'm going to kind of summarize them as they are, and ask Will to address those.
Can you read all of them? That'd be great.
Yeah.
Well, in the interest of time, probably not. No.
Well, but it needs some transparency, could you do that?
When will the county commission a study on the health effects of fracking? The county commissioner said as a county board of health, what actions would you as a county board of health take to ensure that fracking will not endanger public health?
Well,
And
those are
they're basically the same.
Yeah, and those are very good questions, and I know we've had these questions. I know I addressed some of these questions with Commissioner Women and different groups that have come in. You know, long story short, a lot of that's going to have to come from the state, or at least be partnered with the state. We've made that clear to the state. The Board of Health thing, I still think there's a lot of confusion about what actually the Board of Health can do, what it is, what it can do, and what it can't do. You know, and I think people get caught on this nuisance clause in the Board of Health. But you gotta understand, whether you like it or not, the fact is that fracking doesn't exist here. And we as a Board of Health can't legislate it through the nuisance plan, because you can't legislate something that doesn't exist. The first thing that would have to happen for that, because that's where a lot of people come at on that point, is that it's gonna cause all these health problems. And it may, but the state would say it hasn't here yet. And so therefore you can't legislate it here yet. Smoking's a little different. People know about smoking, and counties have banned smoking under the nuisance clause of the Board of Health. But you can't legislate things that don't currently exist where you're at under that clause. So that, I think there's a lot of confusion in that. As far as the county commencing with the health study, I think that's, and we brought that up, a lot of you are very familiar with it, we brought it up with different department heads, but that's probably something that's gonna have to be driven by the state.
Okay. In the spirit of Christmas, how do we get a toy store in Grandstand?
Yeah, I wonder who asked that question. We'll keep working on that one.
I will be putting the slides, the overheads on the website, as well as we had a request for the RFP study for the economic development. Economic study, I will also put that on the website. So within the next day or two, both of those will appear on the website.
It'd be great to see these questions posted also.
A lot of us would like to hear the rest of the
Okay,
questions.
Thank you.
Kevin.
I had a question that wasn't asked that pertained to what Commissioner Edwards spoke of.
We're not taking questions, I'm sorry.
Wow.
It was not asked. Did you ignore questions on the papers?
I just summarized. Yeah.
This
I mean, they're all
was not
basically the
asked.
same.
It wasn't summarized.
Sorry.
Are you ignoring questions on purpose? That's not how. He's gonna get some, like that transparency.
Come on up and ask.